Welcome, 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 guys, to Unwritten Stories of Significance. I am excited. You're going to say, my God, she says that all the time. But I am, because the reason why I love what I do is these stories are significant. The stories to get you where you need to go. This show this evening, I am just delighted to have on two beautiful authors who have written a book called Cora and Manni. These young ladies are going to inspire you. They're going to let you know that you can keep something up here and you can execute it out into the world and get it done. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Elisa Marie-Baglione and Kendal Thompson. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Very good. Excited.
Good, 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 sweethearts. It is a pleasure to have you on Unwritten Stories of Significance because we met, just to give a little bit, and I'm going to let you talk, is that we met through Instagram. And when I seen, there was a little thing that you did about introducing the book and you were just laughing, you were just yourselves. And then all of a sudden I looked more further into it. I went, my God, they did this book. And the little girls in there that looked just like me. And I thought to myself, this is phenomenal. So I know about you, but I'd like you to introduce yourself to our viewers, please. Elisa.
Sure. So my name is Elisa, and I am one of the authors of Cora Manni Set Boundaries, and I'm also a teacher.
All righty. And Kendal?
I'm Kendal Thompson. I am the other co-author of Cora Manni Set Boundaries, and I am also a singer-songwriter.
All righty. So how long have you both known each other?
I think like 3 years.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3 years.
Oh, 3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
3 years? Okay. So when you say 3 years now, did you know it's like as friends, or did you know through you being a singer and Elisa being a teacher? How did your relationship evolve here?
Well, Kendal and my fiance both are in the music industry, and the two of them met at a music event and they started writing music together.
Yeah.
And through that, we were introduced.
Yeah. And as well as writing together, like we just hit it off and connected as friends. So then, I mean, it just kind of made sense that we would also get along.
Awesome, honey. Now, Elisa, how long have you been a school teacher, my love?
Oof. I've been a school teacher for, I believe, 7 years. I think.
7 years.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. And that's high school?
I actually started in elementary school.
Okay.
I did that for about 2 years, but I'm trained and went to school for high school. But at the time that I graduated, there was this weird hiring freeze. So I thought I'd venture into elementary, which, helped me understand a lot about children. But when it came to actual education, I knew high school was where I belonged. So that's where I've been for the last, I guess, 5 years. Yeah.
That's fun. I'm enjoying it, of course.
I love it. I teach English and drama, and it is my pride and joy. I absolutely love it.
That is beautiful, hon. Beautiful. It's beautiful when you can do what you love to do and execute it with positivity.
Yeah.
Out there, which is really, really important. Kendal, a singer. Oh my God, professional singer. Okay, my love. So how did that all come about?
It just kind of started as this thing that I've always loved to do.
Yes.
I started singing when I was like 3, and it just kind of grew from there. I knew I wanted to pursue it as a career when I was around 15. So yeah, I guess I've been doing it for like almost 20 years. That's so crazy.
20. Why do you laugh when you say that? You go 20 years. Like, why do you laugh? Why?
I think just because it's like, wow, okay. Like it doesn't, I think when I say something, when I say 20 years, it sounds like a long time, but like, it doesn't feel like 20 years. Like it
That's
feels
right.
Like I can remember like the feeling of wanting to just start something like this and having to follow through with it. So it still feels so fresh and new. So to say 20 years, I'm like, wow, that's a long time.
That's phenomenal. Now that's all what you do, right? You just sing. That's all. You don't do anything else.
I write songs for myself. I write songs with other artists as well.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, I don't I work with a producer, and I play guitar too.
That's great. That's great, hon. All right. We want to dive into the book. And the reason why I wanted you to share a little bit about your life, because it's important for the viewers to realize that phenomenal book, Cora Manni, which is the topic of conversation tonight, is that I want them to know that people can do anything from different walks in life. And this book is amazing. So I'd like for you to share, how did Cora and Manni evolve? How did you give birth to this beautiful book?
Well,
do you want to go ahead on that one?
I guess I'm chime in. Like, it actually started off as a musical venture because Elisa's fiance held a writing camp at a cottage, and Elisa came to be our chef.
I was the chef for the week.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You cook?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she's a great cook.
Okay, what kind of food do you cook?
I cook anything, but I guess predominantly Italian when we were there, really, and some.
Yeah, we had some tacos.
We did taco night too. Yeah, you name it, Joy.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, continue, hon.
So there was, I think it was like the first day I got there, I wasn't supposed to be working on the music side of things, so I just hung out with Elisa, and yeah, like we've hung out in a group setting, but it was just her and I together the whole day.
Yeah.
And we just kind of, you know, ran off in our own little world. And then we started talking about the things that we love to do. And for some reason, like, we started talking about like what it's like to be a kid in this day and age, and things that kind of scare us as, like, you know, thinking about possibly being parents in the future. And then we also talked about how we used to love writing kids stories when we were kids. And then all of a sudden, we just kind of get talking about like this potential story idea and what these characters could be like. And then we kind of come home from the trip, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, do you want to do that? Maybe we should really do this.
And I think it also started with, we have very similar sense of humor. So we ended up like acting out this scene between two characters that became so hilarious. And we went, it kind of sounds like we just wrote a book right now. Like we just acted one out. And we found it hilarious. We didn't think anything like this. And like you said, we came home and we were like, hey, I was kind of serious about that. Like, do you want to maybe meet once a week and we can just write something? And it was meant to be an outlet for another hobby. Like we both were working a lot and we didn't really have an outlet for the things that brought us passion and joy. So we decided, let's just get together and let's write. And that's what we did for about a month. We were meeting twice a week, and we wrote like 4 books, and we just kept pumping them out. And we thought, hey, I think we're onto something here. And we investigated how to make it what it is now, and it continues to evolve.
Okay, I gotta ask you something because I like to have fun with my guests. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you act out the book?
Well, we didn't act out this book.
I gotta see this. I gotta see this on Unwritten. How did you do it, girls?
Well, we didn't act out this book. It was I don't know if you remember, I remember, but it was a story of 2 girls that were navigating internet safety. Yes. And they were 2 princesses, I believe.
Princesses?
I think so. I think they were princesses.
I remember the internet safety part, and like, you know, how to navigate like strangers talking to you on the internet, and
we had to like put in a password, and we were just outside in a cottage. It was the middle of the night, and we went for a walk we were in the woods, and we're just like acting out like, quick, we need the password, and just being like so goofy, but like it was pretty good. We should write that one.
So you wrote 4 books prior to Cora and Manni?
No, we wrote 4 books for Cora and Manni.
4 books, okay. And the first one now, which is Cora and Manni, Setting Boundaries, correct?
Yeah, correct.
All right, okay. So who came up with the names Cora and Manni?
We both did.
Yeah. We both did that. And we tried looking up what certain names mean. And Cora means little heart.
Yes.
And we knew we wanted to have a little sassy but very endearing character. And those are two good words to describe Cora. She's very sassy, but she's got a big heart.
Yeah.
She has attitude.
She does, yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
And then Manny we wanted something a bit more
grounded, maybe like a little bit more like rooted in her masculine energy, like a little bit more of a tomboy vibe, so that they really balanced each other out.
Yeah, we wanted to stay away from the princess story that we were acting out and just give some more versatility to the children's world. It didn't need to be two girls wearing pink tutus. It could be something a bit more different that appeal to other kids that really don't see themselves in literature.
Wow. Why was it important? Okay, no, that's wrong question. Retract that. Let's forget that one. Let's talk about the title for 1 minute before we go to break. Setting Boundaries.
Yes.
Okay. Why was that title introduced to the book?
It's the main message of the book. So essentially, they learn how to set boundaries in friendships. And what we wanted to do was create a book where there were lessons that not only appealed to children, but appealed to adults. So for example, when you watch like Finding Nemo, that's not just for kids. There's jokes in there for adults.
That's
and
right.
That's right. So we recognize that with this age level, a parent is also going to be reading that book. And one thing that we recognize that we struggle with as adults is setting boundaries. How do you say no? How do you navigate difficult conversations? It's still hard to this day. And
that's right.
We agreed that we wish that when we were kids, we were given some more tools for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Kendal, you want to weigh in on that a bit, hon?
Yeah, I think like it came a lot from our own experience of just wanting some more tools to have healthier relationships as adults, and being able to look back and see the things that we wish were different in our own childhood, the things that we wished we were taught and taught in a different way. And it really, you know, a lot of the stories that we end up writing for Cora and Manni are kind of an ode to our inner child, and
that's right.
Being able to reparent ourselves. So yeah, it's been interesting. Like, I mean, we've both had friends even buy the book for themselves just to kind of brush up on it, because it's such a simple and clear way of learning how to set boundaries that, like, I think it takes the anxiety out of it.
Yes.
Because it sounds like it could be a really overwhelming thing to put in place. Because as you get older, your relationships get bigger and more complicated.
That's right. But more challenging.
Yeah.
Way more challenging.
By the lesson, you realize, like, okay, it's not that difficult, and I'm not going to be a bad person or a bad friend if I set a boundary this way with someone, and it can
protecting
be a lot of love.
That's right, hon. Ladies, that was amazing. We got to go to break. We'll come right back with Cora and Manni, Elisa and Kendal. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Unwritten Stories of Significance with Elisa and Kendal, authors of Cora and Manni. Boy, that's a mouthful, but it's good. It's all good. Ladies, that was a phenomenal first segment. Loved it. Now we're going to delve into the book. And I want the picture that you sent me of the illustration of the first creation of Cora and Manni. It was so cute, because I know what the finished product looked like, the viewers don't. So if we can just take a look at that. Who drew that? Did you both work together on that? Like,
I drew it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like we were kind of talking about how we saw the characters. And then I was just like, okay, I think the best way I can explain it is if I just attempt to draw it out. I did used to draw like a lot more when I was a kid. So it was like a bit daunting, because I didn't know if I'd be able to achieve it enough to get the idea across. Mm-hmm. But totally fine. And then we were able to give it to Braden, our illustrator, who was able to just, you know, really
yeah.
Which Braden O'Brien, viewers, is an amazing illustrator. Incredible. And we're going to be capturing his story and his part of this amazing book on part 2 of Unwritten Stories of Significance. So, just thought I'd explain that there. So, Elisa, when you seen the drawing, what was your input on it? Because when the viewers look at it and when they see the finished product, what was your input on it?
Oh, I freaked out. We both like
we freaked out.
We freaked out. I was like, oh my God, like they've come to life. And so it was overwhelming and exciting to see these 2 little girls. And we knew it wasn't exactly what we wanted, but it was the perfect jump off point to, you know, create exactly what we saw in our heads and what we had been writing and describing. And we did so much character development with the 2 of them. Like we spent one day just embodying both of the girls and answering just a series of questions of like, what's your favorite color? What do you like to do for fun? And answer as Cora, answer as Manni. So we really-
Hold on for a second. Back up here for a minute. You did a little scene together with the characters. This is cool. This is really cool here. Can you break that down again for the viewers? Because this is really important.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think I took on some of the things I learned when teaching drama. When you're developing a character, you want to really understand the psyche of them. And if we are going to continue writing about them, we have to understand who they are as people, the choices they make, what motivates them, what moves them. So we had to just communicate as if we were them. And a lot of the times we laugh and I say like, I feel like I'm Manni. She feels like she's Cora. And we just, you know, had to have conversation as the 2 of them and decide how they would solve conflict and what makes them different and what also makes them the same.
Yeah. And honestly, it was like a little close for comfort, the realizations we made. It's like, we just created us. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my, you know, that is so true though, because that's the reason why I really appreciate you young ladies. It's because when you talk from the heart, and you've created such a great book that came from the heart and the importance of setting boundaries and having conversation. There was something you said in segment 1 that when you were putting the book together, what you wanted the message to be is that you reflected a little bit on your own selves. Can you share that with the viewers? Why? I mean, how that came all about? Like,
yeah, I think, individually, we're always trying to uncover the better parts of ourselves, and during uncovering, there's been a lot of healing take place that we've navigated separately, and then have been able to, you know, discover new things and new perspectives and talk about it with each other. And so, yeah, a lot of it came from our own growth and our need to want to uncover our true selves. And to uncover our true selves, there's just been healing that's had to take place in order for us to change perspectives and embody those people that we know that we are at our core, but just, you know, life has happened along the way that unfortunately in certain circumstances is maybe just like cause us to see things differently in a way that isn't exactly truthful. And in our uncovering of the truth, it's like there's these little stories that we're able to tell now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Elisa, well said, my love, well said. Elisa, being a school teacher, when you look at the book and you deal with students, what message what is it that you see with youth, the challenge with boundaries today in school? Like being a teacher, every single day you see it.
Yeah, with boundaries, that's a good question. I feel like it's difficult to find the right words and the right tone as an adolescent, because you might know exactly what you want, but when you say it, it doesn't come out right.
That's right.
And if, you know, as we get older, we kind of become people pleasers as well. And you learn how to change your tone. And that's also respectful, not just people pleasing. But I think with teenagers, they know what they want. We all know what we want. But it's just a way of how it's delivered. Like even as a teacher, I have boundaries that I have to communicate to them. But if I walk into a room and I bark at you and I say, get into uniform, sit down and do your work, you're not going to offer me respect. But if I walk into a room and I give you that respect right away, we won't have a challenging time setting boundaries together. So, you know, my main thing is to try and create a community in the classroom and create that safe space, because when we have a safe space, I can create a boundary. I can say, I don't like that, or I can't help you right now. Like, you know, students ask each other for help all the time. Well, I'm in the middle of my assignment right now. I can't help you right now. Maybe ask the teacher. Whereas before, somebody might just say like, leave me alone, or, you know, give all their time so willingly, even though they don't want to. But the second you feel safe, you can communicate a little bit easier what it is that you want and what you need and how you feel. So that's what I really, really try to do in the classroom. It's not always easy, but it can work. It can work.
I love how the way you say to make the classroom a community.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, why is that important, ladies? Like sometimes, not only in the classrooms, within our own home, as a family, wherever, why is that so important that this book is embracing?
Well, we have to look after ourselves, right?
That's right.
We're exhausted people. And I think through the pandemic, we were all given a whole new perspective. We all had to step back for a moment, and a lot of us weren't able to work. And we had to assess, well, now that I don't have work, what do I do 9 to 5? How do I find fulfillment? And that new perspective, I think, allowed many people to change things in their life path that resulted in, I have to set a boundary. I can't work these hours. I can't do these particular things. And yeah, setting boundaries, I think for me, became easier through the pandemic as a result of that.
Anyone weigh in on that at all, Kendal?
Yeah, well, in terms of like, you know, building the community aspect and navigating that, it really
right.
It goes with setting boundaries, because it's just like I think are now understanding how important it is to be a part of community.
That's right.
We naturally need that. We can't
That's right.
necessarily survive on our own. But I think that along the way, there's been some damaging aspects to community that necessarily like shouldn't have been there. And I think the more people learn to get in touch with themselves and their feelings and navigate the world with a different lens, they're able to be a part of a community again and feel safe in a community and do things like set a boundary in this community. Because it's like, it doesn't mean like a boundary doesn't necessarily mean like an endpoint. It's just the beginning to something different.
That's right. What I love about the book is that you have 2 cultures represented, right? You have a white girl and a Black girl. And the little Black girl reminds me of myself because her eyes are so big and bright and she's smiling. And what is the name of the Black girl? Is that Manny?
That's Cora.
That's Cora. Okay. So why was that so important for you to show that? Because it was a big conversation that was awakened in 2020 with everything within the world. Yeah. So why was that so important? And there's more that I'd like you just to explain a little bit more.
Well, we looked up some statistics. Prior to that, I think immediately we knew that it was important to us, and it wasn't even something that we had talked about at first. We just knew, even through your sketch, that these weren't going to be 2 white girls. Right. 11% of characters in children's stories are children of color. Only 11%, 42% is white children. And Manny is actually, I wouldn't say that Manny is even white. She's androgynous in her name, androgynous in her clothing, androgynous with her skin tone. And we wanted there to be characters for kids to look at and feel like, hey, that looks like me.
Right.
There are so many white children on the cover of books, and that's beautiful and amazing, and we don't want to take away from that, but there's visibility that is missing, and it is important, especially when we're talking about community. We need togetherness, and their 2 beautiful faces on the cover of this book does that. It is inviting for people that need that invitation.
Yeah, it's just like, it's such a beautiful thing to see. And of course, like, I mean, we were a bit worried because we're like, well, we're two white women and we want to write a book that doesn't have white characters in it. But we just felt like it was important. And the main thing as well is like, the more they came to life, the more we just felt that they weren't white.
Yeah.
And we just wanted, we wanted them to have visibility. And like, I grew up in Alliston, and Alliston probably has the most cultural differences that I've ever seen now when I go home. But like, when I was growing up, there was only like 2 Black kids in school.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So even for my nephews who live in Creemore, you don't really see a lot of people of color out there. And then this way, it's like all of these little kids get to see people of color and be friends with them. And hopefully it just, you know, brings more togetherness, like Elisa said.
Well, it will, sweetheart. I gotta let you go, but we're gonna come back with this amazing story on part 2 of Unwritten Stories of Significance with Kendal and Elisa. Guys, I thank you so much, honey. All right, it's a blessing. All right, bye, sweetheart.